Schools across the country are dealing with a weighty issue: obese students. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, in 2010, more than a third of kids in this country were overweight or obese. But are some schools taking the fight against fat too far? Heather Hegedus from our Fox affiliate in Boston has this story.
Cameron Watson is hardly a video game playing, cell phone texting 10-year-old.
I don't like sitting inside doing nothing.
The North Andover fourth grader was brought into this world as a preemie, but now he's healthy and very athletic. He plays youth football, practices martial arts, and wrestles. That's him in the black at a meet. You'll find him at practice several times a week.
We run stairs, jog, drill, and live wrestling.
This weekend he's even wrestling in the state finals and must weigh in at 95 pounds.
Yeah! I drink a lot of orange juice and Gatorade.
That's why Cameron and his mother were so stunned when they got this letter home from school saying Cameron's body mass index, or BMI, puts him in the obese category because he's in the 95th percentile for his age group.
Why do you care? It's not your body, and half of us, how they do it with the numbers, Tom Brady's obese, and he's the skinniest quarterback in the NFL.
Cameron says when the letters went home, both girls and boys at school were upset.
You either are anorexic, that means you're too small, or you get the obese letter, that means you're too big. You can't be just right.
There were a number of children that went to bed not feeling so great about themselves that night, and that bothered me.
Cameron's mother, Tracy, a North Andover selectwoman, says the state's fixating too much on just a number rather than looking at a child's overall health. She also says the screenings cost school districts money that could be better spent.
Why aren't we having nutritionists speak to our children? Why aren't we hiring more gym teachers?
Tracy recently filed legislation on the state level to put an end to BMI screenings in schools. And Cameron is just hoping someday he'll have the last laugh.
In your face, I'm a pro football player and I got the obese letter when I was 10.
You gotta love his attitude. All right, we contacted North Andover Public Schools for comments. So far, no direct response, but we did find this statement on the district's website regarding the body mass index screening program. It reads in part, quote, in accordance with the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, schools are required to perform height, weight, and body mass index screenings for students in grades 1, 4, 7, and 10, and send home the results to parents and guardians. The purpose of the screening program is to give parents additional information about their child's weight status and ideas for living a healthy life. The statement continues, quote, BMI does not tell the whole story about a child's health status. So, are schools overstepping their bounds or doing an important service in the fight against childhood obesity? Joining us now for a fair and balanced debate, radio show host and Fox News contributor Mike Gallagher from The Mike Gallagher Show, and radio show host Mark Levine from The Mark Levine Show. Gentlemen, welcome to you both.
Hi, Shannon. Mark, how are you?
All right, let's start with you, Mike. Part of this, the statement here was kids went home and went to bed not feeling great about themselves. How do you respond?
Well, I mean, I'm going to go out on a limb here and wish that schools, educators worried about education. I mean, this is this typical nanny state mindset that do-gooders want to force parents how to parent, tell parents how to parent. I mean, that great story out of the mouths of babes. I mean, Cameron's the smartest guy in the room. Here's Cameron saying, it's my body, leave me alone. He's got a loving parent. He's got a loving mom on the scene. I mean, this is the overreach of the government. It shouldn't surprise us, I guess, in the state of Massachusetts. I was intrigued, Shannon, when you read the report and said that they do these testings of grades 1, 4, 7, and 10. Well, what about 2, 3, 8, 9, and 11, and 12? I mean, it's arbitrary, it's capricious, it's nonsensical. Again, take it from a parent. Stick to reading, writing, arithmetic. Let's educate kids. Let's not get into the kitchen of every child who goes to school in Massachusetts or elsewhere.
Mark, is this too nosy, or is it something schools need to be doing?
I think it's something when 1/3 of all kids are obese that parents need to know maybe affect their kid. Now, Cameron's a special kid. He's in the state wrestling championship. He hits a punching bag like a boxer. He wrestles. He plays football. He works out. He has a lot more muscle than your average fourth grader. And good for Cameron. Cameron is not typical. And the letter makes very clear that the BMI index, the body mass index, it is not appropriate for kids or adults who are more muscular than average. So it makes that very clear. It says that if your child is not more muscular than average, he may be obese, she may be obese. And let's face it, we have 1/3 of kids in America who are obese, and they suffer from diseases like diabetes that are lifetime problems. The reason why Governor Mike Huckabee of Arkansas first instituted this program that Massachusetts copied is because he was obese and he thought it was very important for him to get healthy. He did. Good for Mike Huckabee and good for Massachusetts for copying his plan in Arkansas.
And by the way, these letters go home to kids who are underweight too. It's not just an issue of kids who are overweight. So, you know, Cameron says kids are having their feelings hurt either way, Mike.
Yeah, but it's not the school's responsibility. I mean, test scores around the country are at an all-time low. We've got schools that are struggling to get federal funding because the kids, frankly, are performing so poorly academically. I mean, think of all the time that's wasted on letters about underweight or overweight or body mass. I mean, what's next? Are we going to have you know, letters about hygiene or about colors of clothes? Leave this to the parents. Let parents decide what the right weight should be for their child. They're wasting time and money by focusing on something that's frankly none of the school's business.
Mike,
Cameron's right. It's my body.
It sounds like if it were up to you, you'd get rid of physical education in schools altogether.
No,
you know, when I was a
not at
kid,
all.
we had the president's physical fitness test, and I remember at that time I couldn't even do one chin-up, and that let me know, hey, I maybe need to get out a little bit more. Schools test all kinds of things, not just academics, and this letter, by the way, didn't just test body mass index, they tested strength and cardiovascular training. Listen, some kids don't study enough, they're out too much playing. Other kids are studying too much and aren't out getting physically fit enough.
Listen,
the letters
guys,
are to parents, they're not
Mark,
to kids. The letters don't say, hey, Cameron, you're
I can
fat.
say-
They're to the parents. The parents can decide what to do with them.
All right, Mark and Mike, we got to leave it there.
I can say as a rail-thin person, I'm telling you, I never met a cheeseburger I didn't like. I just leave us alone. Let us fatties be fat.
All right, we'll see whether the Massachusetts School Board and Department of Health are listening to either of you. Mark and Mike, thank you very much.
Probably not.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thanks, guys.